Welcome to Mind Prosperity, and at Mind Prosperity we believe where your mind goes, your life follows. Where your thinking goes, your life follows. And this also includes your emotion. Now, one of the things that has a huge impact on our lives is the relationships that we choose. And today we're going to specifically speak about attractions, and we're going to answer this question: why are some people attracted to wrong people? Why are some people attracted to toxic people? If you're somebody that says, every single time I get attracted to somebody, it's a toxic person. It's a person that's not good for me. But people who are good for me, I'm just not attracted to them. Why does that happen? So in this video, we're going to answer that question for you. Now, one thing we have to understand is attachment styles. There's a way that I attach to people, and this attachment style has a lot to do with the way I've been brought up, and has a lot to do with my early life, and has a lot to do with trauma repetition. If I went through trauma over and over again, this trauma has an influence on how I attach to people, or we can say this trauma has an influence on how I am attracted to people. So it starts with programming from early experiences. Now, what is programming? It's a belief system where you go through something over and over and over again, and it just becomes natural. So if you speak English, you have been programmed to speak English. If you can play the piano very well, you've been programmed to play the piano. That's kind of like a programming. Now, your attachment style, or who you are attracted to, in many cases it has been programmed by early experiences. So children learn about relationships primarily from their caregivers. If a girl had an abusive father, her brain might subconsciously associate abuse with what love feels like because it was her earliest model of connection. This programming can lead her to feel drawn to similar dynamics in adulthood as they feel familiar, even if they are harmful. If a girl or a boy has been in an environment of abuse, if a girl or a boy has been in an environment of neglect, that becomes familiar, and the body is drawn to what feels familiar. The body is drawn to habit, not necessarily good habit or bad habit, but whatever is habit, the body has been drawn to. So if you grew up in an environment where somebody gave you silent treatment the whole time, you will probably become attracted to somebody who gives you silent treatment the whole time. If you've been in an environment with caregivers where you had to fight and work for approval, that means when you get into relationships, you're going to be attracted to the person where you have to fight for approval the whole time, because that is familiar. That is what the body has become used to. And then familiarity. Like I said, the body is very attracted to what feels familiar. And what feels familiar has an influence on the nervous system. The body and the nervous system can become accustomed to heightened states of stress and emotional turbulence, meaning it can become used to it. For some with an abusive upbringing, calm, healthy relationships might feel uncomfortable and even boring because they lack the emotional intensity that they are used to. This is not a conscious choice, but rather the body's conditioned response. So if a person grew up in an environment that didn't feel safe, that felt toxic, that means if they later meet somebody in life that is safe, they might feel like, this is boring, I'm not attracted to this person, this is not exciting, because the body is not used to it. And then we have to get to a place where we should say, but do I want to be attracted to toxic people for the rest of my life? Do I want to get in a healthy relationship? Well, to do that, we have to understand healing. We have to understand we have to heal from this to eventually get into a good relationship again. But we have to understand how we got here before we can actually heal. Christine Langley said, we repeat what we don't repair. Now, this has a lot to do also with subconscious programming and what we spoke about earlier, trauma repetition. So psychologists like Sigmund Freud and Carl Jung, who also spoke about this concept of repetition compulsion, where individuals unconsciously recreate painful situations from their past. They might stem from a subconscious desire to fix the original wound or make sense of it by repeating it in adult relationships. So whatever is not fixed, we're eventually going to repeat, because our subconscious mind runs 95% of our lives. And our subconscious mind is basically in control of how our body acts and how our body reacts. Now, It has been built by repetition to get to this place where we are attracted to something toxic because that is what we are used to. Now, how do we heal this? Before I get there, I want to ask you to like this video, subscribe, send it to a bunch of people, because we do believe it's going to help them. So healing basically starts with acknowledgement. I acknowledge what has happened to me. I acknowledge that I'm attracted to toxic the whole time, and I acknowledge where it comes from. We have to, people say don't look at the past. We don't want to stay in the past. We don't want to get stuck in the past. But sometimes we have to look at the past to answer a question, to say, okay, this is where it happens. Now I bring it to consciousness, and now I start to heal it. And now by repetition, I'm starting to reprogram myself. This can be through the imagination, through your thoughts, through your meditation. You can start to see yourself as somebody different. You can start to see yourself as somebody that's attracted to someone healthy. You can start to get into more healthy relationships. And by that, I don't mean, go date people that you really don't like just to go heal yourself, but allow yourself to get in some healthy relationships. And when that fear comes, when that feeling comes from, this might be a little bit more boring, sit with it. I call it ERP, exposure and response prevention. Expose your body a bit to what feels unfamiliar. Do it repetitively until it becomes familiar, because repetition is the language of the subconscious mind. So allow yourself to get into situations, even if those situations doesn't immediately feel comfortable, because remember, our intuition is also influenced by our trauma. And a lot of people just say, follow your intuition, follow your heart. I don't believe in just blindly following your heart or following your intuition. Yes, I believe intuition is extremely important. Yes, I believe intuition shouldn't be ignored, but I also don't believe intuition should just be followed. Your pure healthy intuition is always correct, yes, because it's connected to your authenticity. But your intuition has been influenced by trauma a lot. Your intuition has been programmed by the subconscious a lot. And therefore, we have to ask ourselves the question, is this my pure, true intuition speaking? Or is this my intuition that has been influenced by trauma? And that has to be healed. Well, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you want to know more about our company, please go visit our website, www.mindprosperity.co.za. Everything you need to know will be on there. And I'm looking forward to see you guys again soon. Goodbye.